Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for your weekly dose of emotion? The #1 miniatures and wargaming discussion show on the entire internet. Chilling Wargamers Season 4, Episode 4. And I actually mean Episode 4 this time. I know I said that last week, but this really is Episode 4. I promise. I, of course, am Andy 2D6, your co-host for this voyage. Joining me, as always, apart from last week, Mr. Spud Tate, the chicken-murdering swine himself.
Yes! Hello, everybody!
Hello, Mr. Spud. Have you recovered from your chicken-related illness?
My chicken-related illness is totally out there, and I ate 4 more chickens to compensate for the illness that I had.
Was it actually chicken that made you ill last week? People are wondering.
No, but you told me not to say.
Was it turkey, then?
No, I had turkey last night, actually. That were emotional. That were pretty good. It wasn't all the way late chicken, it was massive. Like, see, we've been 30 seconds into it, sure, it's all about chicken. Yeah!
Yeah, that's what people expect. Next, joining us, we have, this man is a role model for all you modelers out there. It is Ryan, the role models. That came out kind of awkward. But it's Ryan. Hello.
Glasses back
We didn't forget about you.
No, amazingly. And that's probably just because you've got it down on the list. Hello.
I don't
Well,
think
that's
Mr. Ryan's internet is very good tonight.
Am I jumping about again?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Sorry.
How low can I set
Anyway,
this? Whoa.
let's get to the main event of the evening, shall we? We have a trio of bearded gentlemen. They're geeks, and word on the street is, they play. We have Lydon, Matt, and Jack, the geeks who play.
Yes!
Hello.
Hello there. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you this fine evening?
Beards.
Good.
Beard.
Pretty damn good. Yeah, pretty damn good, thank you.
Some of you with slightly more manly beards than others, I've noticed.
Yeah, we're not going to go into that though, are we?
I like how it was only you, Jack, that actually made an effort to comment then. We knew. We knew. Hey, you're better than our orc, though.
That's not hard.
So that is quite a nice beard you've just given yourself there.
Got this one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's delicious,
damn.
mate.
You just grew that since you've been introduced.
Yeah, I sneezed and it was popped on.
That is an impressive rate of growth you've got there.
Thank you.
Well, Spud.
I like how it follows your face. Like,
I know. If I close my eyes, I think it disappears as well, because it follows your eyes. If you open your eyes bigger, my beard gets bigger.
it's bigger.
That
So,
is
guys,
impressive.
everybody, welcome to the episode 4 of Chilling Wargamers, and thank you everyone for turning up as always. It's delicious. We weren't late, but everyone had technical difficulties today. So thank you very much for holding on and being patient. So, guys, today we have the geeks who do play a little bit.
A little bit.
So, where did you start? We'll start with that. Where did you all start from? Like, where did you meet up?
I think Matt should be the one to answer this.
No.
Oh no, Matt, it's up to you.
We've all been friends for quite a while. Started playing D&D a year ago? Yeah, about a year ago. Yeah. Never decided to record it, but eventually thought, we could get this live and out there for people to listen to. There's quite a few D&D podcasts on like iTunes and stuff, but none really from the UK, and it's quite a different audience that you get.
It's a specific audience, that's for sure.
Special.
I mean that in a good way. Like you get your audiences on YouTube that watch our sort of thing.
Yeah.
You have certain listeners, like you do. People listen to audiobooks.
But it's also a different humour as well.
Yeah.
You're going to get good British humour as opposed to the American humour that's sometimes a little bit more garish.
I mean,
Which one of your episodes was the humour in again?
Trey Byrne. Good burn. No, I think I remember it quite vividly, actually, Matt.
What, that point in that one episode?
No, I mean, us coming together. Well, I mean, that's a different episode. Us coming together as Geek Who player. It was actually, I think me and you were sitting at yours, and you were like, "I want to do this," because I don't think it initially started as the D&D. That came after, because it was initially going to be our experiences, I think, and we were going to do the weekly podcast where we talked pretty much everything.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just D&D, and that D&D spawned from that, because you had the light bulb of let's record our D&D and put that out as a podcast. But initially, it was just our weekly podcast where we talk generally all things gaming, from tabletop to PC and general stuff.
Yeah.
But,
So
been good
Geek
so
Who
far.
Play is what you call, but what is the story and the meaning behind your name?
Well,
It was completely random. I think somebody said it as a throwaway comment, and we just all decided, yeah,
I'm
that's
pretty
brilliant.
sure we were all at yours, possibly even doing D&D before we recorded it, and it was around the time that we were talking about setting it up, and you were talking about setting it up, and you were thinking of names. I'm pretty sure we had some shit ones.
right,
It just came out of the woodwork. Someone's like, well, what about, like, we're geeks and we play, or something like that, and it got shortened to Geeks Who Play.
It's very catchy. It is really catchy, isn't it?
Mm. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I obviously I've listened to all the D&D podcasts and things, but I never thought at the start that I would actually enjoy listening to a group of other people playing D&D. But it just works because you guys are that close friends. You just bounce off each other and wind each other up, and you can feel that right through the recordings.
You haven't heard the unedited ones, then?
yeah, that's true as well.
I tell you what, one of my favourite parts must have been, I think Corgil came out with a one-liner, and I couldn't believe, because all of them before that had been a bit, you know, everyone
I
went
know what
silent
you're talking
afterwards and
about.
things like that. And at the time, I was on back shift from work, I was driving home, I had my iPhone connected into my car, and I was driving along, pitch black darkness, and I nearly crashed the car. I was laughing that hard.
I know exactly which part you're talking about. As well. if the guys don't mind me putting that into the light for those who haven't heard, we were, Garen, it was me and you.
Yeah, well, we might
was
need
me
to
and you.
spoiler this one a little bit as well.
Well,
Spoilers, guys. If you haven't
Spoilers,
already watched them.
spoilers. If you haven't heard the podcasts and you're not familiar with the characters, go back and listen because it's funny. But Jack here plays a character called Garen.
So what are all your characters' names in the game? What are your names and what do you play?
Right.
Right,
Should we go through this in order then?
Go with your first, Jack, before we finish that story. Yeah, go on.
Ooh, take it from the top. Right. Well, I play Garen, who is a human. Right. I always have a problem pronouncing this.
Artificer.
Artificer. But one of
For
those.
America, Artificer.
It's
Yeah,
hard to
exactly.
place all-
So I'm whichever one of those I feel like being, really, when I start playing. But on top of that, that's basically what I do. So I'm into I'm the steampunky guy, basically, with the hat. You know, as you
Shared
do.
some work that we've had done on your page recently, and Garen is the one with the mechanical arm.
Yeah, we lost that in a freak skeleton accident.
Yeah.
Well, what else are skeletons supposed to do other than explode?
Yeah, totally what I expected.
Well, we're talking characters, so I will mention that we're only 3 of the 5 members of Geeks Who Play.
Ah,
The
okay.
other 2 aren't currently here. The other 2 can't make it. But the other 2 of the members, for all the females out there, are 2 girls. One is Matt's wife, Shona, and my better half, Ailey. So that makes the team, and then another boy who plays the orc in our D&D.
Indeed.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Left them at home tonight, have you?
You can't take the orc places, you know, they don't let you in, you know, shops and things. Smells too much, might, you know, rub off
Even
on
in
the...
this new accepting age that we live in, still
Yeah.
some people frown upon that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Within the D&D, Matt doesn't play a character. Matt is the dungeon master.
Ah, okay.
Or as we
He's
know
the
him,
game-
it's the Lord Skybeard.
Great Lord Skybeard, yeah.
Or
The
Bloody
cloud above
Toe.
that rains lightning. Well, Bloody Toe then?
Either way. Yeah, if I DM, I'm the DM, but there is the rare occasion that I will join in, and if we're playing D&D, I'll play my Bloody Toe the Dwarf that's I think been alive now for about 21, 22 years.
Real life years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've taken him from when I was about 7.
Yeah. And there is now models and artwork of him. It's so cute.
It is pretty damn good.
Multiple models, the original one you painted, and the one I painted for you, and now the artwork we've had done for him. So
yeah,
he's getting
they're actually coming alive. So do you use models all the time, or just because you are now?
Well, the system with 4th edition of D&D, because there's quite a few different editions. For the role playing side of it, there isn't. You don't have to use models. It's all paper based. But as soon as you get into a fight or kind of any kind of encountery type thing, then you've got to use some models to make it a bit more obvious as to where everybody is.
Because you tend to use like a checkerboard or like a whiteboard with squares drawn on, don't you? So we can move. We can see physically what we want to do. It helps out for some of the members in the group so they can see where their position are in, like, say, a pub or whatever, and it just helps them decide what they want to do, especially with some of the spells or effects that might have areas of effect. So it helps us map out what we want to do. So it's a mixture of, it's a lot paper-based and then model-based when it comes to encounters. It makes it nice.
Some of us can stand at the back, some of us can stand at the front. Isn't that right, Pete?
Yeah. That's right, Jack, yeah. Leave your tiny little...
stand in the doorway to stop a child running past.
Oh, that's a bit of a long nerve.
Some of us can be asked to stand in the doorway, and then the other person stabs someone in the leg, and...
You shouldn't have tried to escape.
So, I know you mentioned there that at the minute you're using 4th edition D&D. Now, I know you in the next couple of months, are you going to be moving on to that? September it is it?
Yeah, September. Not initially. I've been playtesting it now for probably the past year, and the rule system on it, I'm not a huge fan. It takes what was right about 3.5 and what was wrong about 4th edition, and then throws them all away and just makes something completely new.
As you do.
But they've very much simplified it, and it just doesn't flow as well. And this is after it's gone through quite a few erratas. So,
but I mean, what I like.
Yeah, because I mean, it's done. How is it in an open beta?
What was that? Sorry, bud.
Oh, sorry. Has it been in open beta now? Is it 1 year or 2 years?
In open beta, it's been a year, but for people with Wizards accounts, it's been out for about 2 years. Because 4th edition's now rolling on probably 4 years old, but they only stopped releasing books for it about 6 months ago, or properly stopped releasing books for it 6 months ago.
So, on the editions, is it like a major change like they do in the other company that we all know? Is it just like they change, or they actually let the community have a say?
Yeah, they throw out the basic rules. I mean, kind of going from 1st edition, which was late 70s, early 80s. There wasn't a huge amount that anybody could join in on, but from our lovely internet age, from about version 3, 3.5 up to 4, everything's been beta tested. And yeah, there's certain things that get kind of removed from it, certain things that get added in. But your issues are, if you buy a physical book, you're playing with the rules on it. And unless you're going online to get the errata rules, then you're playing with the original edition. Which, to be fair, with D&D, I mean, with 40k, you've kind of got to stick with exactly how the rules flow and how they run. With D&D, the rules are quite a guideline, you don't have to follow them.
It's rules.
I am.
Anyway.
I think I am the most rebellious 40k player ever because I just do what I want. I ask people, but I just do what I want. Like Andy knows from experience.
Yeah, he has been known to sneak a few extra things onto the table that aren't
That's
supposed to
just
be
pure cheating. But like normally, I usually ask my thing and say, right, I've done this, done that, and I'll tell them a reason why. Like I like my fluff in my armies. Like one example at the moment in 40k, demons they only come in units at 10 for my plague bearers, and throughout my entire army, I've got 7 in every single unit because obviously it's the number of Nurgle.
Yeah, but
So,
that hails back to the proper days of Chaos.
So then I was like, well, if I remove 3 plague bearers out of 2 units at 10, and have them as a 7, can I just say have a free herald instead? Because it's worth a lot more, but they're really cheap anyway. And it was just like, yeah, let's do this. And it just makes things just so much better for me. Just having like theme. Same with my chaos. My chaos has got like, I've got chaos. There's no allies in fantasy, but I've just put chaos warriors and chaos dwarfs together because they would be together, seeing that they've got the hell cannon and stuff. And then because of there's no hobgoblin models, I've just used Skaven because I thought they'd quite fit in well with the chaos and turning into chaos. Because in the book that I read, it's a lot of like different any unit from in that universe or world can be in the chaos wastes. It's not an actual only chaos are there and chaos dwarfs.
Yeah.
Could be anyone. So I'll just like messing it up a little bit. And you've seen my chaos demon guy. He just makes no sense.
What you're saying is that Spud doesn't play by society's rules, he just marches to the beat of his own drum. And if you don't like it, are you really going to stop him?
Well, that's how chaos works, yo.
If I want to be honest, I like the fact that you're playing with the Nurgle of with the sacred numbers, because that hails back to quite a few editions of
2
Chaos 40k.
Yeah.
2 editions ago, when you took is it no? It's got to be more.
Yeah,
When
it
you
was,
took
I think it was 2. Yeah, when you took your number, sorry.
When you took your number, if you took 7 plague bearers, you got an aspiring champion
Yeah.
as an upgrade
Back
for
in
free.
day.
It's a sacred
I think I've got
Back
it
in
in my drawer. Back in day. That was I liked that. I liked the aspect of it because I did Khorne at that time. And I was just like, well, I'll take 8 Khorne Berserkers, get it. But it wasn't for that like cheesiness. This like with people like if I wanted to be cheesy, I could put Chosen Chaos with Fireglaves for fantasy if I really wanted to, or I'd put like a Khorne Demon Prince from my Nurgle guys, and that's I'll put 3 Helldrakes in it, and make it and mess it up like. But yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah, you might soon be able to
Berserkers.
do what you want.
Yeah.
But
Before they... Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I like the idea of people just sort of making up their own house rules and things like that, because it just gives all these games an extra dynamic. I know there's one of the guys locally, and their group play Bolt Action. And I don't know if many people know the game mechanic for Bolt Action, but basically you've got your own coloured dice per unit in a bag, and the whole turn consists of pulling out dice out of this bag, and if it's your colour, it's your turn. If it's your enemy's colour, it's their turn to move a unit. But they put an extra 2 dice in of 2 completely different colours, and that way when one comes out, it's a bit of a warning, and when the second one comes out, the game turn ends. So any units you haven't moved that turn, you don't get to move. It moves on to the next turn. So it stops you being able to sort of think, right, well, I don't need to use them until the end of the turn, because you might not get the opportunity to use them, which I think is really cool.
That's a really good idea, that.
I think all games
actually
should be like
plays
that.
really well.
I think all games, other than like I don't know, any game, I think you should be able to just do what you want. Like no tournament
Definitely
players, I
helps
can
with,
understand they'll get upset with certain rules coming out because that's what they do. But normal people are just in shops or when you used to go to playing games workshops. When you go to like play with your mates, you should just be able to do what you want. Like, don't stick to the rules. Like, everyone's being so serious about this rumour thing, and everyone's just so upset about it. It's just like, do you play tournaments? No. Well, why are you getting so upset? Just do what you want.
Yeah.
Especially with something like Warhammer that has the massive amount of background that you can play with as well. It doesn't make sense not to make use of at least some of it. I mean, outside of just a paint scheme.
I mean, let's face it, they're trying to make it more realistic every time they change something. It's not realistic to have exactly, one sort of officer and 2 squads of troops in an army. I mean, in real life, you would have whatever you could muster together.
I mean, apart from that, the fact that my gun's shooting RPGs, essentially. Things like that. They ruin that whole believability.
It is the 41st millennium. That's kind of believable. I'm just putting it there. That's kind of... I'm okay with them shooting RPGs out of their rifles. I'm cool with that.
Considering everyone's trying to eat them, it's probably a good thing as well.
Yeah.
Well, the kind of subject of people using their imagination. If we can just ride the train back a little bit to the D&D station before it's too far away. I recently had my first experience of a game like that. It was Pathfinder, but it's the same kind of thing, really, isn't it?
Pathfinder's brilliant.
It's pretty much 3.5, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Apparently.
With a couple of bits stripped out, but yeah.
Yeah, so, of course, I had a gnome bard by the name of Benedict Booty Call. Or, if he can charm the ladies, they call him Benny Boo. And you might appreciate this. When he's talking to men, he has a northeast England accent. When he's talking to women, he talks a little bit like this. Hello, young lady. So he really turns it on for the ladies, but he doesn't acknowledge the change at all.
Newcastle accent.
When he's talking to men, it's a little bit like this lake.
It's a bit like this lake, aye?
Not very charming at all.
Where'd I put my loot, pet?
But the thing is, I'd never made a character before for one of these things, so of course I put his strength as low as possible because I wanted to put all the points into charisma. And then when I looked at the equipment I needed to buy, he couldn't even carry his basic food rations. So the first room of the game where all the characters were meeting each other, his entire mission objective in there was to try and sneak all his belongings into other people's bags.
Which is a good, admirable first mission.
Or just approaching all the ladies and saying, those look like load-bearing thighs, young lady.
I think one of the great things about the major D&D campaign I took part in a while ago, it's the only really major campaign I've ever took part in, and the DM took everything you said as fact of what you were doing, and I accidentally made a little bit of a slip when I was talking, and we had this thing called an ever-burning torch, so it was always lit. It didn't matter what you covered it up with. It wasn't hot, but it was always lit. And we had a donkey called Florence, who we were turning into a war donkey, giving it experience and things. And we were saying, right, well, I need a free hand. I'll just go and stick the ever-burning torch in the donkey.
Oh.
Of course, the key word being in the donkey, not actually thinking what I was saying. So donkey. She was a bit upset with me after a while, poor Florence.
So he didn't even make you specify which orifice?
Nope, it was just in the donkey. That was it. It wasn't in its pack, anything like that. It was in the donkey. So you had to be very, very careful what you said.
Well, if I'm honest, that's what I really like about our D&D. As you rightly said, we're all close friends, personally, and obviously Shona and Matt are married, so if something happens to Shona's character in real life, he really has to deal with the consequences. But I really like how, in a situation, because we are all different individuals and we all think slightly differently, we come up with a lot of funny coincidences or shit that happens. We'll just say that, and it's quite fun to see how we get around stuff like that in a Jack.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. Well, for instance, when your Dragonborn's fallen down a ravine and there's nothing you can possibly do to save him other than, well, go on, take some guesses. How would you save the falling Dragonborn?
I just want to say, in my defence, before people that haven't listened to the podcast, spoilers, Matt didn't have to make me fall down a ravine.
But no, if there was a Dragonborn...
No, hang on, fucking wait. Everyone else got across that rickety broken rope bridge, but fat ass over here couldn't.
Oh, I wonder why.
But no, seriously though, if there was a Dragonborn falling down a ravine, and considering this thing's like 4 times the size of me and armored, how would you stop it?
How would I stop him?
No, you were fallen, so you have no choice in this matter at all, as you didn't say.
I know I was fallen.
But anyway, so we shot him through the knees. and dragged his backside back up via the rope attached to the arrow. Kinda. Between all of us. Good times. He was not best pleased.
Then I hit the wall because the rope made me turn into a pendulum, which knocked me out. And then you dragged me up the wall unconscious. So your tank, your group tank, was fucked.
I am a fair DM.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
There's
had a
one
good
thing.
laugh.
We keep referencing back to the podcast. So for those who haven't actually heard it, where can they find it?
Beefy, I'll let you take that one.
Shit. You can find our podcast in 2 different ways. We know people don't like Apple as a company, but it is on iTunes. If you want to search Geeks Who Play, you'll find 2 of our podcast feeds. You should just find our podcast sort of hosting area. The D&D podcast is called The Tales from Telrain, and the weekly podcast, when we get back to it, is just the Geeks Who Play. I think it's just weekly podcast, but it'll be in the same feed. Other than that, if you don't like iTunes or Apple, you can find it on a website called Podbean, and you just search Geeks Who Play and you'll get both feeds there as well.
Yep. Well, Geeks Who Play, you'll get the weekly podcast. Tales from Telrain, you'll get the D&D podcast.
Well, if you search Geeks Who Play on Podbean, it actually comes up with both feeds because it's the same host.
Indeed.
Someone in the comments did ask that a little while ago. So let's just have a look, see what kind of audience we've got in here. We've got Bazooka J Rambo, a long-time viewer. We've got Mike Scott, Cinzeran, Graham Collin, Tom Wilson, industry legend James Hewitt. Nice to see he's not dropped out of touch with his roots here.
Yes.
Yeah, so all-star audience we've got there tonight.
Excellent.
And we've actually got more people viewing. They just don't like commenting.
Yeah, some people just watch the show while they paint or listen while they paint, so they don't want to have to actually free up their hands from the miniatures and get over to the keyboard.
To be fair, it's
I would
better than
suggest-
whistling while you work.
Yeah.
I would suggest listening to the podcast, but given you nearly died, Ryan, it's maybe not.
Yeah, you need a health and safety warning now on your podcasts.
We do
It's
that.
alright. I'll just go back to listening in the bath.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Whatever floats your boat.
Do you have a comment from Graham Collin who says that bring back AD&D first, second edition? That's what I say. He's quite an old man, by the way.
First edition is fantastic, and we bring in quite a lot of elements from first edition. So, yeah.
It's just obviously our campaign is just not difficult enough without adding in some first edition bits and pieces.
Too right.
Just yeah, exactly. Goodness.
I mean, as far as the miniatures element goes of D&D, I believe it's Gale Force 9 who have the license at the moment to put the models out. Have you got any of those at the moment? Have you seen any of them?
I've seen a lot of the Gale Force 9 stuff. They're not licensed anymore. They used to be. So the stuff that they're selling's not old stuff, but they still hold the license for Pathfinder. So anything that they tend to release new is Pathfinder.
Right.
But they do all the older bits and bobs. WizKids have picked up the D&D miniatures again, which is really
Pre-painted
good.
ones is what you're on about.
Sorry?
The pre-painted ones are ones you build and paint yourself.
No, I think is it the Collector Series, and you can get the big Eye Tyrant. It's like 40 quid, but it's like that big. It's huge.
Well, that's when you build and paint yourself. You can get pre-painted stuff, which is what Wizards used to do. But as Matt rightly said, Guild Force 9 used to do some stuff. But if anyone was watching Kickstarters, which I'm sure you do, if you're watching this, a while ago Reaper did a Kickstarter and did a whole fundraiser for their Bones series, which
They're really
are
good
D&D
as well.
and Pathfinders.
Mm.
Yep, which are D&D and Pathfinder and some Cthulhu, and they do all unpainted, unbuilt models for the game system themselves, from the Eye Tyrant to a big Cthulhu model. So they can literally cover everything: D&D, Pathfinder, and Cthulhu. If you want
Some of the
models for them.
Reaper dragons are amazing.
And really well priced.
Yeah.
Because I looked into it a lot when I was researching the models we might need and will use. But we've used kind of models from the models we have. We've used from a lot of different companies, not just one or two, or one specific rather. We've used them from all sorts because we can.
And it's what best fits.
Yeah, it really is.
While we're on the topic of miniatures, how long have all you guys been into war games?
There's a question.
Done.
I don't know. I think I was
Well, we can start with you,
fairly
Jack.
young. So, oh,
We were all in a handful of D6 as you came out the womb.
yeah. Since
I was a
I
crit,
don't know.
apparently.
Yeah. A crit. Oh, ooh, really?
True
Oh,
fact.
I've had models and bits and pieces around the house. It's just always been there, really. So, forever. As far as forever goes.
It's literally the worst answer.
Yeah. We'll go with like 15.
Gonna have to hurry you for an answer.
Yes.
Have to
There we
hurry
go.
you for an
15
answer.
plus. There we go. That's not 2.
15 plus years.
15 plus. Yes.
What was
Wait a
the
minute.
game that you played seriously then? That might give us an idea of time.
There we go.
It was stuck now.
Probably, yeah, probably 40k, unless it was a board game, in which case it was the Talisman edition that I've got laying in my cupboard. Because Talisman was
Great
good.
game.
Yeah. As the geeks know, I brought it up one evening for us to all enjoy as a group, and we didn't speak for much for a couple of weeks afterwards because too much went down that day. Tears were shed. Manly tears of defeat. But no, probably 40k, I think, back in... I don't know, I just know I had the generic Space Marine Ultramarine army because I was young and didn't know that I should paint them green or something instead. Just came with the little yellow blue pots, man. That's all I know.
I'm sure
Well,
most of us have been there.
Matt?
I was going to say I've not been too much into the wargaming side of things as such, but from a very young age, probably 5, maybe 6, I was playing Hero Quest, Talisman, Space Hulk, Space Crusades, and mainly RPGs. So that'll be coming on to 15 years as well. Just shy.
Well, my experience from a miniatures game system, I was brought up on 40k and Fantasy and played that solidly for, I want to say, probably 8 to 9 years. Started at the age of 8, and I'll be 23 tomorrow. But like, as far as other miniature stuff goes, I fell out of love with Games Workshop simply because when I started, it was a pocket money hobby, and I could go down to the local store with my pocket money, pick up paints, brushes, or a cheap model, go home, be satisfied, build and paint, happy days. As the games got on and the models have progressed, I understand with the whole manufacture and all that good stuff just gets more expensive. But it was what killed it for me was how quick the additions of the rulebooks came out and the game seemed to drastically change. So as a gamer, as a miniatures gamer, at my core, I sort of wanted to wash my hands from playing the game, but still want to enjoy building and painting the models. So I took a lot of time from gaming and went into the miniatures painting and building and side of things. And now over the last couple of years, I've picked it back up and I'm doing a lot more miniature games other than just GW because I wanted to broaden my horizons of miniature games and see what was out there, not just stick to this one game system. So I've been playing stuff like, recently we held a game night and I was playing Star Wars, which is a
Brilliant game.
Great game. I've got the Bolt Action Rulebook. War Machine, me and Ryan bit our teeth on War Machine a few years ago when we got into that. And just really, and like the guy said, other little games like RPGs and D&D and just getting into other things. But at my core, I started miniature-wise from the age of 8 to now when I'm 20. I'll be 23 tomorrow. And I've kind of not stopped playing, or at least some part of the hobby, miniature-wise, from the age of 8.
I think like skirmish board game, table games, whatever, I've taken off it the last few years big time.
I think
because
personally
they might be the same price sometimes as Games Workshop, or probably they are less, but they're not like too much difference. But obviously, you don't need as many models, so it's better for the people that are playing.
Well, that's why me and you, Ryan, at first, because I know Ryan in real life locally. That's why me and you a while ago got into War Machine.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hell, you can pick up a starter set locally for about 30 odd quid, some change.
Yeah.
And you know, take the Kado one for instance, you're getting 3 models in that box set and the cards and stuff you need to play with them. And you can build them models, not need to paint them, and literally play straight out of the box. You can't get a rule book for 40k now under 30 quid. Like the new editions that are hard backed at least. You can't even get a rule set for an army, and that's just like a codex. And then you'll need the whole rule book, say like, so that's maybe 50 quid's worth of rule book, 35 quid's worth of codex. That's 85 quid just on books before you pick up miniatures.
We dabbled into Drop Zone Commander, and their 2-player starter set comes with, for like 60 quid RRP. Yeah. You can get it cheaper other places. Yeah. That comes with literally everything: tape measure, dice, terrain, boards, 2 starter armies, reference sheets, everything. And I was just like, when they brought it out, I was just like, you legends.
Yeah, that is probably the best value for money starter box that I've seen personally.
We do more weekly episodes. Sorry to interrupt you there, Andy. Just because we're talking miniature prices and stuff at the minute, and I get quite heated about this, which if you listen to the weekly podcast, you'll know my love for Games Workshop.
Love.
Not sarcasm. We done a kind of a price comparison. I went off on a great big rant. It was when you guys were starting to get into War Machine. That's Jack and Matt, I mean.
Yeah.
I done this great big spiel of like starter price armies for Games Workshop and stuff. And you take the War Machine 2-player starter set, which is Menoth and Kador, I believe, and it's £70 RRP, and you can get it obviously under that price online. It's unreal the amount of extra money's worth of models you get in the box. You get the two starter sets, and then you get like a unit. I think the Kador get Man of War Shock Troopers, and the Menoth get their equivalent. Can't think of the name offhand, but each of them units is about 30 quid RRP. Anyway, so you're getting like another 60 quid's worth of models just in the starter set for 70 quid, and you can get that under that online and stuff. So there's a lot of companies out there. I think the small skirmish games where you don't need a lot of models. You don't need
plus a 25 to 30 quid rulebook.
£18 for the softback rulebook.
18 is it?
I think I got it for 18.
I mean, there's another 20 quid thrown in with having the rulebook in that 2-player starter as well.
Yeah, but really, me and you played we picked it up without needing the rule book, as long as you've got someone there who maybe has a bit of experience to point to you. But even I think in the 2-player box set you get quick start rules anyway.
You get a mini rule book.
Get a mini rule book, yeah. So shit, I mean, damn.
The point in GW's favour is that they're so established and there's so many people already playing their games. When you buy their game, you know you're going to be able to find a large pool of opponents. Compared to if you go for one of the smaller, less known systems, you're actually going to have to put in a lot more time and effort to actually get other people into the system, probably.
Could not agree with you more. Couldn't agree
with
you more.
The best part about War Machine, though, is that it's not going to break the bank to build 2 armies of your own either. So, you know, you've got more than enough time, money, and bits and pieces to have 2 sides. Because, I mean, if you're like me, there's multiple factions you like the look of, and so on. So I'm likely to start a second army as soon as I'm happy I've got a first one big enough.
I have a huge Kador army and still want to add to it. That's not because I want to have this great big massive army and crush everything in the path, because it's just like any other game, and you decide a points value and play from it, but it's because I like the models and I want to build a nice and impressive army. But exactly what Jack said, you can throw, say, 100 quid, if you've got it spare, at a brand new faction, basically buy all the models you like the look of and a decent warcaster, and that army will work irrespective of what models are there. And then if it doesn't, you change out one model, which is your warcaster, and it plays completely differently. So you can have your core set of warjacks or units, just change out a warcaster every now and again, and it plays completely differently. So I like the freshness of that from War Machine.
That's it. I mean, you and myself were Kador players, both of us, but just having the 2 different casters determines how the different armies interact, even though they're the same faction.
Yeah.
They're just hugely different lists.
I mean, shit, your Vlad list is really hard, but if Vlad... but I've beat it because if Vlad doesn't, do it
If
at the
it doesn't
right
kick off at
time,
the right time, yeah.
I think the appeal of a lot of these skirmish games as well, it's the speed. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I've
Oh.
played 40k in the past, and you spend a lot of time setting up in bits and pieces, whereas War Machine, bang, put your models out, a game in half an hour, thereabouts, if you play it with small scale.
Yeah.
I mean, and all it takes is for you to misjudge a little bit of distance or something like that. For instance, say, B for you had your Warcaster in range of a focus cannony shooty thing, which
What, Jack?
things like
I've
that.
never versed your Retribution faction or versed Retribution properly.
Indeed.
So it was fresh to me to go, I know I've played against Kador. My Butcher's fine. What? How did he fucking hit me? Shit!
Yeah.
Where's the Butcher?
But then,
I mean,
like seconds later, if I'd have been like an inch closer to make that charge distance,
Oh,
the
I'd have had your
outcome
head.
would have been completely. Oh no! I'd have got you. That's
I'd
okay.
have had your head.
I mean, just jumping back to Andy's point there, though, about establishing a game. I mean, it took us, myself and Leiden started about, 2 years ago with War Machine, year and a half maybe,
Year ago.
something like that. And I'm fairly confident in saying that we were the first two people to actually play a game of War Machine in a club in West Cumbria.
Yep.
There might have been the odd people having them in the house, but in a club, never heard of. And it's taken up until last week, I looked around our local club, and there was more games going on than there had been in the past 6 months, and not one of them was Games Workshop.
No.
But it's taken us
Good.
a year and a half to get to the point where we can diversify that much, that there is War Machine games going on, there is Drop Zone Commander games going on. And to be honest, it was a bit of a proud moment, really, because I sort of half feel like we sort of instigated it by bringing this other game in. It was a bit sort of, blasphemy at the time. Oh, what's this? No, I don't like that game. It's not Games Workshop. And it was an unbelievable response in our community to people just disliking War Machine straight away
was
because
unreal,
it wasn't
wasn't
Games Workshop.
But I think that's because where we are around here and the clubs that are around here, it has always been Games Workshop until recently, until the last couple of years. Hardcore GW fans, and there will always be hardcore GW fans. I'm hardcore for the models, not hardcore for the prices or the way that they run the business. But they have, as Andy rightly pointed out, a 30-year plus established fan base, shall we say, of people who want to play the game. And that is awesome. I'm all up for that. And you are right. Sorry, Matt. Go on.
Sorry, no, go on, carry on, sorry.
I was going to say, you are very right. You could go to, there's established tournaments in Nottingham for Warhammer, yearly, monthly, whatever. But there is that coming up with War Machine, especially locally. There's a bigger scene that we've got now, and hopefully it'll be the same worldwide. You just don't need to spend a weekend playing one game of 40k, or take time off work to finish the game. War Machine, you can literally, like Jack says, half an hour, an hour's worth of gaming. You can get a few games in. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. Could you learn to faster?
Like we went to Dipped Goon last month, and between 40k, Fantasy, and War Machine, they were probably all on par with each other in size of the hall.
I would love that to happen over here.
You know what it is? Geographically, 40k and Warhammer was born in England. It's our baby, so to speak. And America is Privateer Press. So the way I see it, in a very simple-minded way of things that I see it, is Privateer Press is America's GW at the minute, and our GW is obviously the UK's. So it's always been a bigger scene over here in Europe, and I think Privateer Press, as the company that they are kind of like America's GW. That's the way I see it. But better.
Malifaux's picking up quite a lot as well recently.
Yeah.
It's getting really big now.
I really
It's
do
not
think it's
something
the
I'm
little skirmish
experienced
games.
I had a few games when I were in the Dipped Goon, and it's same again. Boom, it's proper fast. It's really fun.
Quite a lot of game systems taking off now. Even the Drop Zone Commander. If you look at something like Bolt Action, that's kind of bringing together like the ones that would be the players that would traditionally be sci-fi or fantasy wargamers are getting into that because it's quite a simple rule set, and then that's getting people into the more historical war games type of thing. So it's kind of bringing the two worlds together, which is an interesting thing. But the one game I would say if anyone is looking for a game to teach other people to play, they want to get other people into it, I would suggest Dreadball.
Yeah,
We've got
Because
Dreadball.
Fantastic game.
I've taught lots of people how to play that, and not one person has disliked it. In fact, pretty much everybody has said, okay, I love this game, I'm going to go and buy a team right now.
Even me. I've even finished a team.
Yeah,
I've even painted it.
They're cool.
And I'm getting into Dead Zone as well now,
It's
which is
Blood
supposed to be
Bowl,
very
but-
similar.
Yeah, it's Blood Bowl, but a lot cheaper. Because obviously they got rid of
But
it.
someone's taken a bit more care of it.
It has similarities to Blood Bowl, but it's a lot faster, there's a lot less resetting going on.
Yeah, it's like for me it's like rugby because it's continuous. It ain't like Blood Bowl. That's mainly I think set after like American football, doing your turn and then resetting. Obviously, because in them days probably like the big thing, and then but Dreadball is more cross between obviously football and rugby.
Yeah, Blood Bowl, there's a lot of downtime, isn't there? After there's points scored, for example, you then deploy the team again. Whereas in Dreadball, when you score, the ball just pings straight back on and you carry on.
That's really good. Yeah, I really like that because it's more tactical when it just pings back out because you might have all your players on their side at field and you're just like, oh shit, the ball's gone over there again now, so you get to run out way back. When you have such horrible dice like myself, things never work.
I mean, unfortunately, it's something where I've had the box for ages. I've painted one of the teams, the other team's still just in black primer, and I've never had the chance to play it.
We brought it down for the gaming event that we ran, but I mean, to be fair, that was crammed and there was no real place to play.
Oh, that was unbelievable. I couldn't believe how packed out you guys had that for the local tabletop day event.
It was awesome, yeah. That was really good, that.
And we had just a massive mixture of everything going on. We had card games down one side, board games over on another side, like tabletop war games sort of in another bit. We had just about everything going on in one place.
And caffeine on tap.
And
Yeah.
caffeine and cakes on tap.
Oh,
So
exactly.
are you going to any conventions this year at all, either as a group or as single people?
We actually are, yeah. We're in the process of planning it. We've been planning it for a few months previously, but it's going to start to come to fruition from kind of today onwards. There is a local convention, like a geeky convention that happens in our county, and it's yearly. I think it's been running for maybe 2 or 3 years now. Is it, Matt? I think 2.
Is this the third year, I think, this year?
I think this is the 3rd year now. It started in 11, didn't it?
Third was the 4th, yeah.
Yeah. And it's every time we've went individually as as other things, it's just got bigger and bigger, and you got people cosplaying, and there's people stall holders and people running events and like card games and stuff. Get a lot of Magic players there. Not so much tabletop that I've seen. So we're gonna go as the Geeks Who player. We're gonna host a couple of tables and play everything from intro games to like War Machine and Star Wars, to possibly even having some of like RPG mini encounters, D&D, and like tabletop like little board games like Dreadball and other things there. So.
Is the person organising this called Scott by any chance?
Nope.
No,
He is
not at
part of the
all.
player.
Okay. Okay.
He might be there as his own thing, but not with us.
Okay. Okay. Where is it?
It's well worth going to as well.
Yeah, it's good.
Is it
Brilliant.
is it hosted at a Waterstones?
Waterstones
Kind of.
semi-run it. It's not hosted at a Waterstone,
Okay.
but the Waterstones of the local city run it alongside the event that it's held at, if that makes sense.
Because this such person name dropped you
Carlisle.
guys and asked us if we wanted to go. Yeah,
Carlisle.
that's what it is. Yeah, Carlisle.
Yeah, Carlisle.
Yeah.
And asked us if we wanted to go. So we're just like, well, we've got Ryan who's up there, but we'll have to see about how we'd get there.
Ryan could just be your correspondent for the day.
At the very least, we could send Ryan along.
Oh, I'll be there. I'll definitely be there.
Ryan will
We'll
be
get
there.
him one of those nice sort of like things they have for news reporters. Tight dress, make him look presentable. Screw him up nice.
Send him around there with some
Call him
more
a-
gamers stickers, putting them on everything.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I really regret not taking stickers this year to Adept Queuing because one of the lads had a little son, and I was going to give it to him and say, "Go put these on people." Just have him run around and stick him on people all day, but who are obviously unorganised and forgotten.
We're certainly going to be, that's going to be in August, so we're going to be planning that and getting.
Yeah, it's definitely the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh, mind you, come to think of it, Scott was running around last year sorting out stamps and things, wasn't he?
So does he organise the event, or is it somebody else?
No, it's not his event. He just attends.
Okay.
I mean, I was under the
Scott's
impression
got
it was
nothing to do with it.
The
No,
plot
he's not.
thickens.
He's not an event holder or like a manager or anyone that deals with it. He went last year as like a gaming group and just got stands there. So he was just like kind of a. He's nothing.
We'll get to the bottom of this.
Without sounding like an arsehole, yes, he is nothing. He doesn't run it or deal with it or anything like that. He just attended as a person. Like we will be attending as a Geek Who player.
Could we be getting scammed like the Nigerian guys? That email.
I would possibly check your bank details.
Your deposit is £1,500. We'll make sure you get it for free, and you have a table for the day. We turn up and I'm like, "Who are you guys?"
They just give us directions to KFC.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one of them. It's not too far from the venue either, actually.
Sound.
Spud,
We're sold.
might have to go now.
Because at the moment we've only got 2 drivers. We've got obviously Dan, and who's near me, and then we've got Stevie, who's near Andy. And obviously it's 2.5 hours there and 2.5 hours back.
Ryan, do you not remember last year though when we went to KFC and ordered for I think it was 18 people?
Yes, but to be fair, we did go the long way around, and there was a lot of traffic and roadworks. When it was only two streets walking distance away.
Spud goes into KFC and orders for 18 people all the time.
Yeah, and 1 drink.
Yeah.
That's the downfall there. That's the downfall when you go into
giveaway.
KFC and you order for all of that and you get 1 drink and you're like, yeah, the rest of them aren't thirsty.
I remember once we went in and me and my mate went there, and he's a big eater as well. And we ordered 3 meals each, right? And we were just like, they give us 1 portion of barbecue sauce, and I'm like, this was back in the day before when you had to pay for it, and I'm like, there's 3 meals. They're like, yeah, but it's 1 per person. I'm like, but it's 3 meals for 3 people. Just I'm eating it. Sorry, we can't do that. I want to see your manager. They come out and I'm like, listen, right? I said I want more barbecue sauce. I said I've bought 3 meals. I said I don't care if it's 1 per person. How can you say that? And he was just like, yeah, just have it. I'm sorry. What? I once went to KFC. I'd been dreaming about it twice, 2 nights in a row. I went to Showcase Cinema with my mates, right? And after it shut 12 o'clock, we got there at 11, right? And I got there and they were like, all right, could I have a bargain bucket meal, please? Oh, I'm sorry, we've run out of chicken. I said, you better go back there and find some goddamn chicken. I've been like this for 2 days now, and I want some chicken. Miraculously, it turned up.
Call yourself Ron Swanston.
Let's go around bullying KFC employees.
No. You didn't understand me. I want all of the chicken.
You seem to have a bit of a bandage around your hand there, Lydon. Have you been shaking your paint pots a bit vigorously?
Yeah, a little bit vigorously, but it looks a bit.
I've just been tired.
Ah, fair enough.
Should we get
You
on
just
to
look a bit like Michael Jackson.
releases before we call it an end?
We're going to talk about the demonic wood elves.
Oh no, we don't care about them. We've got square bases.
Hey, we love square bases here on Chilling Wargamers.
Oh,
None
yeah,
of this
I
safety
like
base
it,
nonsense.
I like square bases now. I think.
You haven't cut yourself on them yet, have you?
No, everything's fine. I wear gloves. So this week, because we've had no new release Ninja for like 2 weeks now, 3 weeks now, 2, 3.
If people have been getting withdrawal, they've just been sitting in the corner of the room rocking back and forth, not knowing what's been released.
It's pretty hard, but his wallets have been saved though, so it's pretty cool.
That's
anyway,
good.
We're having to buy stuff each week, even though
Which
I
is
still do.
convenient because there's a couple of nice Kickstarters they might want to jump on.
Yeah, so I've got 2 juicy, delicious Kickstarters. I've got another one actually as well. I'll have to do that in a second. So the first one is Tabletop Towns Cargo Containers. And what it is these little containers, cardboard containers.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what they are really, just cardboard containers.
Yeah,
But they're for a good price. Like I've selected this award. I got 6 of these containers for £10, delivered to free to UK, US, and Europe. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you go for the higher pledges, that I wanted everyone else to chip in with me, but everyone else didn't want to because they're horrible. But you can actually get, like, we could have the Chilling Wargamer logo spray painted on the side of like one of these, and you can actually, there's one pledge, but if I were rich, I would. You can actually have, I nearly selected that then, 20% of the actual containers that go out to the normal people will have your logo on the side.
That's crazy. That's cool.
So but at the moment,
cool.
there's still 29 days to go, and it's like halfway there. So go pledge because I want my cardboard containers.
If one of us wins the lottery and get the Chilling Wargamers logo on everything, GW will be bringing out dreadnoughts with the CWG logo there on the shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the idea of the containers and things, but for me, it's just as good as they are and as great a price and everything they are. To me, they're still cardboard containers, and there's just something about that when you put them on the table, they're gonna look slightly tacky.
Yeah.
It should be noted
That's
that
the
Ryan
only
can
thing for
be
me.
made to change his mind if we are going to be sponsored by them at some point in the future. Just throwing that out there if they're watching.
The reason I had them, because obviously I like the Drop Zone Commander stuff, because all their terrain's cardboard, and that's the reason why I liked them. And I thought, well, I've got actually no proper terrain for my board, and I thought, well, for a tenner, you know, I'm going to use them for someday.
I mean, it's just the tiny little details that sort of get to me. It's the fact that they're a bit shiny, but then again, you can hit them with a bit of matte varnish, and that would sort that out. And also the fact that this is going to be really, really bad me saying this, but the fact that they bulge slightly just knocks the realism off for me.
I'm just not wrong with bulge.
Yeah, not wrong with it at all.
Because some of us have to deal with that kind of thing on a daily basis.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
But here's one for you, Ryan. Say, for instance, you're hosting an event somewhere, you don't want to take your own terrain with you. You think to yourself, oh God, but I want to take my cargo containers with me. And you go, right, there we go. We have our substitute. Bam.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
If you've got a gaming club or something, you want to just throw out some cheap terrain out there. You know, it's not too big of a deal if someone steps on one of them because they're only cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, it's just I wouldn't put them on my own personal table.
But
it's just one of them things.
But me and you, Ryan, are kind of on the same wavelength with this. We would, being, you know, avid painters and builders, rather build your own terrain, put the time in and paint it and make it look nice and go, haha, I have a nice display piece of terrain. Job's a good one. When we were sorting our event for the Costa, the International Tabletop Gaming Day, we kind of had to also think of, we want terrain that's stable and you can play on it. We did look, I think we possibly looked at card, me and Matt, but we settled for the laser cut MDF because it was strong, cheap, looked good, and when painted up, it looked, you know, really decent.
I think
a
few of these Kickstarter guys are bringing out stuff now just for them, for conventions.
Yeah, but
stuff like this.
Yeah, in the cardboard's favour, you were looking at price, very cheap.
Yeah, very inexpensive.
From a distance, it does the job. It's lightweight. It can be broken down and folded to keep in basically a folder if you wanted to, like a binder. And for someone that isn't as good as painting or building or has the imagination or the time or whatever, it's terrain they can take out, that can fold together and build, and boom, you've got a table. I don't mind it.
Oh, I mean, it's not a case of whether I mind it or not. You know what I mean? I do think it's a great idea.
I think it fills a
gap for me.
I think it fills a gap in the market. It's ready. It's good to go. It's pop-up terrain, as opposed to the hard stuff which you need carry cases or boxes, and then you worry about it getting damaged if you've painted it well. And you know, it does the job. I think it fills a needed gap, possibly. Depending on what they wanted to build, it might get a bit more technical, but.
So that was.
Use it to break you in and put you
on
on
a slightly kind
stuff.
of geeky note on that.
What's that, Matt?
Sorry. Could you not just print it yourself?
I mean, I suppose if you had the right card, the right quality of a printer, I don't see why not.
I mean, I wouldn't even say that was card. That's slightly thicker, you know, just slightly thicker paper.
But if you got like a PDF download of the sizes or the like almost like a, what's the system called? Pepicura. like printed it and then just got them sent away and got a shitload printed, you could pop them out yourself.
Oh,
Yeah.
just print them yourself.
I think the only thing with that is printing them en masse. You would need something like a plotter or a die cutter, really. Otherwise, you're still sitting there with a ruler for quite a long time doing a lot of cutting. Ruler and a knife.
Yeah.
And people like me, I could not be asked doing that. So that's the reason I've done it.
You're only dropping
But the-
£10, really, aren't you? To get
Yeah.
a
Yeah, that is
back
the
of it.
Yeah.
thing, I suppose. Yeah.
But how many do I get? 8, 6 containers, and it's free shipping as well. So it's cost me a tenner for those. So
Yeah, I mean,
I thought,
I think you'd struggle to walk into a Games Workshop with a tenner and come out with change.
yeah,
It's
So-
cheaper than a trip to KFC, isn't it?
Is the cardboard edible?
Define edible.
Are you meant to eat
Nutritious.
it?
I think Spud could eat it and suffer no ill effects, but I don't know about the rest of us.
yeah.
Fine edible. If I put it in my mouth and chew it, will it A, hurt me, and B, digest?
Probably yes, and probably yes.
Now roll a d20 to see whether, you know.
Spud actually has a second stomach after the first one that helps break down all these difficult things, which is why you'll see him applying like Tamiya paint to his sandwiches now and then.
Tastes good. I suggest the candies, the acrylic.
Yeah.
Oh, they smell
nice.
fantastic.
The candy apples.
So as next Kickstarter is from Arcane Factories by Arcane Factories, and they're in collaboration with the Creaturecaster campaign as well. They're doing like models and doing advertising on each other's. They've got they all went live yesterday and they've made nearly 10 grand, so it's pretty cool.
We should point out that we're going to be doing a live show on that Kickstarter.
Yeah, we were doing a live show after this show
Amazing.
on my channel, so if anyone wants to come in, we'll be talking about all the characters. You can see like Bertha, Baroness Tilda, Christina, Ingrad, Count Camilla.
I've got my eye on that Countess.
Yeah, she's not a vampire.
Wow, they're
Jen
really cool.
Hailey,
Yeah, they all look amazingly cool as well.
Nurse Julie, Ying, Yen, and then this guy is just gonna dragon punch you to the face.
Leo Shang, the Dragon Monk.
Yeah, what a delicious monkey. As you see, the scale is a little bit smaller than a Space Marine, but it's real scale, so it's
Yeah, it should be a big. It should be
yeah,
a big
because the ladies in armor as well. It's pretty good. They've got their respective body parts covered up. Then obviously you got the Angel of Death, and this is still locked. Unfortunately, I want this to get unlocked because I've reckon it'll
Wow,
do really
I want
well.
one. I don't know what it's off. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but I want one.
So it's a redemption engine of doom. It's not called of doom. How do we? Well, let's get 50,000 to unlock that. But
That would make an amazing alternative for a Retribution, a Skyra.
I was thinking that.
Just thinking, yeah.
Warjack, yeah.
I need a command
the
Warjack.
huge Warjack. What you call him? It's gone out of my mind now. Colossal.
The
That's the one. Colossal. That would be brilliant for that.
Yeah, as a proxy model. Could do.
Or just get the proper one because it's beautiful.
That too.
so we've got the painted versions already. These were like pre versions. The casts are going to be in resin. Hopefully, further down, that just tells you all about all the. They've got quite a big team. They've got a really big up guys. Like the guy who owns it actually, obviously, has got one of those golden people. He worked on Life of Pi, and some of the other guys, all the artists and stuff, have worked on like massive films. So they're not.
It's like he
nerds.
worked on the Muppets. Or Sesame Street. Hey, Bert.
And of course, they're affiliated with the WGC, so
Yeah.
you know they're good.
So
Yeah,
they're going to be delicious. And then, for last but not least, here's my good brother, Mr.
Gavin.
Gavin
Moorcroft.
from Tar Gaming.
Oh, it's already past its
Oh,
original
I've-
goal as well.
I've literally got this page up in the background as well.
My
Jack, I've told you I've got the relics roll.
over today. I waited all that time till it got to £7.50 under, and then I funded it.
Amazing.
It's still got 29 days pretty much to go. But it's just awesome. Like the old ones that you've got so far is this Terrain and the Banished Knight exclusive model.
Exclusive, yeah.
And what it is you're just getting cheap armies, but then the more money that they make, they'll be able to make. Let's scroll down. Be able to start making.
I want the Ruiner.
It's all the entries from the rulebook that don't currently have models, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ruiner, yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty much that one no bigger than what are on page. Yeah, there's the Ruiner there.
Yeah.
There's the Sol. Oops. The Heavy
We're going to hopefully
Dragoon.
be doing a live show with him as well pretty soon.
Yeah,
Gavin.
the Demunda,
Nice guy.
the Demoda. I want that because obviously I do the Orkner, so
Orc now.
you better hurry up and pledge out. And then at 6.5 thousand, what is absolutely amazing are these objective markers.
I like that.
Aeola just put them on today.
Oh,
So can I zoom in? No, they don't. It hits me.
oh, come
So-
on! As if a Vitae model would ever be able to take on the Britannans and rip her head off.
Has it-
He's found that in a gutter somewhere.
See,
Calm down, sock puppet. It's the sadomasochistic dwarfs you want to look at. They're the best. All right.
see, I'm all about the titty sucking people. I'm all about those guys. They're so sick. Like they're just, and they're all, they're just so sexy.
Yeah.
Look at him.
That model needed an over-shoulder boulder holder.
All the models. These two fairy demons of doom, and the pain engines, the stitch guys, and the toad / stone people. I'm so technical with my names.
I know what you mean.
Needs more Stitch Puppet British line.
Yeah, Spud, you better learn all the names of that stuff because we're getting into that game very soon.
Well,
Yeah, but
actually,
the-
I did a little video, and then I was panicking, thinking, "Oh my god, I've just absolutely destroyed all the names." I actually spoke to the owner, and he said I'm allowed to say whatever I want. So, because I'm Northern, so it's fine.
I know Gav. All right. And I know Dan and Kate, the painters, and I spoke to Gav as well, a bit over Facebook about stuff when I was painting mine up. And I was like, I was typing them and spelling them wrong, and I was like, I'm really sorry, I don't know how to pronounce them. And he was like, I'm the owner, and I still don't know how to pronounce them.
Yeah. So you can go get the rules for the. I'm actually doing that right now. I've already got them on my other computer, but for this sick little guy.
He's cool. I like him.
And it's a mercenary, so they're bringing pretty much a sneaky faction in.
Yeah.
So they have to put this can go in any of the other armies, what I think's awesome. And we've all voted, so we're a community project as well because we all voted for this sculpt to be done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, kind of off topic. Paint jobs of those miniatures. If you jump over to Leiden's page, Black Sun Art Studio on Facebook,
You won't find
he
it.
does. Oh, they're gone.
I removed the page
Oh, that's good.
because I'm going to re-upload them on the Geek Who play page.
It's like the most amazing snot I have ever seen. It's luminous.
It was
That
the
is quite an
Vallejo.
endorsement you've given it there.
It's the Vallejo. It was the Vallejo. It kind of. I want to use the term highlighter green, like the highlighter pen. It's their like neon series. There was a couple of paints, and I used the neon green as like a really intense bile sort of juice thing that they had injected into them. But I'm going to re-upload the pictures, more high quality, on our page anyway, so they will be out there. Because I have a big new Inforce, and I have the rule book. I got one of the special edition ones that was like one of 200 where they're all signed. I've got number 30, so it's another game system me and you try to bring to the area, Ryan, but no one was having a go. Not yet.
Give it time.
We'll
Give
get
it
it,
time.
damn it. We'll get it, damn it. But yeah.
Well, guys, I think we've reached that time where the audience get treated to a little bit of the art world, not the visual arts, but poem of the week.
Oh.
Spud, could you prepare a drum roll, please?
Of course I will. I'll just go get my drum set.
If you're on the lookout for a podcast, you can't go wrong. They scale the Empire State of Opinion like a geek-flavored King Kong. If it's in the realm of geekdom, they'll discuss it and its merits. Like a ravenous pack of rabid, geeky bearded ferrets. If you need compelling audio to get you through the day, why not give a listen to the geeks who play?
Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it a lot.
I've never been called a ferret.
It was more a commentary on your ravenous conversation style.
I'm happy about that.
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
I'm in no way slandering the appearance of any of the geeks who play, for the record.
That's cool.
I may do that next week when you're not on the show.
Oh. Wow, what a plug.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So, guys, do you want anything to say where to go and stuff one last time before we end this shizzle?
I would like to say we are currently not producing podcasts because Matt and his wife Shauna have moved, but we do hope to pick up that schedule very soon and get more D&D and our regular podcast back out for listeners.
Well, new mics have been ordered. Mic stands have been ordered. They should be here in about 5 days. I've just bought a new table, all new cables, and everything else should be back up and running, I'm hoping, a week on Saturday.
Oh, and... Sorry, go on, Jack.
And let us not also forget that we have got some seriously interesting things in the pipe on a different front from podcasting, actually. Some of it's involving such things as the Source Filmmaker, and another couple of things are improving copious amounts of GoPro footage and some other interesting stuff.
Yes, which will eventually make their way onto YouTube alongside gaming reviews, battle reports, unboxings, and tutorials. So you might see my beautiful face back on YouTube, Spud. So not only will we be releasing our podcasts, but we do hope, and we already have the channel set up, to release the Geeks Who Play, where you'll actually see stuff that we do, games we play, reviews, painting, all that good stuff. And Jack's little GoPro spoiler, cheeky thing there.
Indeed.
So, yes.
Where the audio file may have been corrupted at certain places.
Oh, don't worry.
Monica.
Certain places have been very corrupted.
Monica.
Don't worry.
Yes, that's right, Monica.
But we're also going to start releasing some of the kind of commissioned stuff that we've had done. So our website will be going live, I'm hoping, this time next week. I've got a couple of last bits and bobs to make with it. We've got the art that's been done by Ant, who's one of the tattooists down here, who's absolutely fantastic. And we had an A0 sized map custom made for Telrain. So when people are listening about towns, names and cities and stuff, we actually do have a map that this goes off of.
I think you should go into that a little bit, because that's actually really impressive, like the effort you went into to get that created and the people who did it. Just quickly before the show ends, because I think personally...
I've seen it, it's amazing.
The map, I'd managed to get in contact with some of the cartographers that do the maps for Wizards of the Coast and for game companies like EA. So it's a French guy called Maxime Plas, and he's the main cartographer for Wizards of the Coast. So did all the Dungeons and Dragons stuff for about the past 15 years, and we've got our own world essentially.
Created by the same people that make the world we play in. Unreal.
Yep.
And alongside that, if you look just past Matt's head, I think if Matt moves slightly to maybe to the left or the right, you can see a whiteboard filled with fun things that have been coming to fruition over the last few days.
Shit, yeah, Matt's in the office.
Yeah.
So it's going slowly at the moment, but I do promise that it will pick up again because we're wanting to get the community.
We're doing it
together.
properly. We're doing it properly. We're not rushing, so everything's going to be done properly. So, yeah. Look forward to good things from us, hopefully, in the future as an entity.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
And before we go, just a reminder to everybody to head over to Spud's channel in a minute, or check Facebook for the live chat with Arcane Factories.
Peace. So make sure you check everybody out, all the links. Look how dark I've gone. Literally disappeared. So
Monica.
guys, I'd like to thank everybody for watching, as always, or listening. If you're rewatching this again, if you made it this far, you're legends. We love you all so much, and please don't forget to leave likes and comments to say how much you loved it. And make sure you check the description box to check out Geeks Who's Play's Facebook, the Podbean, and the iTunes. It's delicious, guys and ladies. Nearly forgot that. I'd have been killed.
Ladies.
The ladies. So
ladies.
make sure you go check it all out because it's all awesome stuff.
Thank you.
Thank
you for coming on. Hopefully we can get you
Thank
all
you.
on next time as a unit.
Yes,
It's
hopefully.
pretty emotional. So for a few months' time, we might get you all back on again, and we'll all chat about what's going on in the Dungeons and Dragons world of Doom.
Ooh,
Awesome.
sounds good to me. Thank you for having us, Bud.
No,
Thank you very much.
anytime, as long as it's not next Thursday. But yeah,
Yeah.
because we're kind of full this season already now. It's been going pretty
Book in
crazy.
advance.
Yeah, we booked this like months and months ago as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
I think it was like halfway through season 3, and I was just like, do you guys want to come on because season 3 is pretty full.
Yeah.
So do you want to go into season 4?
It was good. Thanks for having us again. It was
Indeed.
always a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's emotional, and we'll hopefully get you back on one day again. So Andy's still waving away. Bless his little socks.
I need to start timing the start of my waves better, I think.
Yeah. So guys, I'm going to end it now. So
Bye,
thank you all for
guys.
watching as always. Love you all.
Thank
Please
you very
stay
much.
safe and don't forget to wear your seatbelts. Peace
Until
out.
next time.
See you.
Toodles.